May 2016. The 12th of May, Mustafa Badreddin, a senior Hezbollah, is killed by suspected artillery bombardment by an armed Sunni group at Damascus International Airport. Opposition fighters, consisting of Ara al-Sham and the al-Qaeda-affiliated Nusra Front, capture the Syrian Alawite village of al-Zahra, and dozens of Alawite civilians are kidnapped. The 23rd of May, Reuters reports nearly 150 people are killed and at least 200 wounded in a series of car bomb and suicide attacks in the Syrian cities of Jabla and Tartus in government-controlled territory that hosts Russian military bases. The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant Group claims responsibility. The 24th of May, new satellite imagery from Stratfor appears to reveal the destruction of 4 Russian attack helicopters and 20 lorries at the Tyres military airbase after a reported attack which was conducted last week by the ISIL. US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, led by Kurdish forces, launch an operation to capture al-Raqqa, the de facto capital of Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The force is reported to be more than 50,000 strong. Nusra Front rebels have captured the town of Deir Karbiya, south of Damascus. The 27th of May, ISIS captures Kafr Kalbin and Khal Jibrin villages from rebel forces in northern Aleppo, cutting the supply lines toward the rebel stronghold of Mer. The 30th of May, Russian aircraft conducts 8 airstrikes targeting the Syrian National Hospital in Idlib city, left at least 50 dead with another 250 injured. As many as 17 of the 50 killed are believed to be children. The 31st of May, Syrian Democratic Forces seizes 11 villages and farms from the Islamic State in northern countryside of al-Raqqa. Meanwhile, a pro-government source announces SAA advancing towards al-Raqqa city in race to capture it. Syrian government aircraft conducts heavy raids on residential areas for months in Idlib, killing more than 30 people and injuring dozens. June 2016. The 3rd of June, Syrian government bombing raids in and around Aleppo city kill 31 civilians, including 10 when the bus was hit. The 4th of June, Russian Foreign Ministry says that the United States asked the Russia not to carry airstrikes on al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front to avoid moderate opposition being hit. The 5th of June, Syrian government airstrikes hit the Kataji neighborhood in Aleppo, killed 9 civilians, and 2 others, including a child, were killed in the Maysar neighborhood of the city. Another 5 civilians are killed in 2 other districts and on the city's outskirts. Syrian government and Russian jets bombed the rebel-held Idlib, setting fire to a busing market in the heart of the city, injuring more than 30 people and killing at least 3. The 8th of June, regime airstrikes on the UN's children's agency UNICEF and doctors at Al-Hakim Children's Hospital, the nearby Al-Bayan Hospital away, and the Abdul Hadi Fairs Clinic. In the rebel-controlled part of Aleppo city spark a desperate bid by medical staff to rescue at least 9 newborns and kill 15 people. The 9th of June, the besieged rebel-held Dara'u town receives its first United Nations food delivery since 2012. Shortly afterwards, Assad forces bombard the town, dropping indiscriminate barrel bombs from helicopters as residents shared food. The United States condemns Assad regime, accusing it of bombing starving civilians just hours after they received a long-delayed UN aid shipment. France also voices outrage, accusing Damascus of extraordinary duplicity, saying the regime had finally granted access for aid after heavy international pressure, and then the bombing restarted. The 10th of June, a friendly fire incident in late May in which American aircraft bombed by Era U. raised rebel group is acknowledged by U.S. Central Command. According to an official, 4 anti-ISIL personnel were killed by error, whilst other sources claim 10 were killed. The 17th of June, Russia announces that the mingling of the moderate opposition with the Al-Qaeda branch in Syria, al-Nusra, is complicating anti-terrorist action. Quote, Russian airstrikes have struck U.S.-backed rebels in the past, according to an unnamed defense official. According to a Western media, government helicopters strike residential neighborhoods of Katishi and Tariq el-Bab in opposition-held parts of Aleppo city, killing 15 civilians and injuring dozens of others. 352 ISIS fighters and 37 SDF combatants, as well as an estimated 78 civilians, are killed in a series of bombings executed by the ISIS to fend off the SDF attack on Manbij stronghold. Over 100 rebels fighters and 86 pro-government forces are killed in south of Aleppo clashes, according to the SOHR. The 18th of June, rebels capture 3 villages in the countryside south of Aleppo from government control, Zaitan, Kalsa and Bana, which lie in a strategic area near a main highway that links Aleppo with the capital Damascus. The 19th of June, government barrel bomb attacks in Raqqa's Tabqa district, killing 10, including women and children, and wounding 35. The 26th of June, Syrian government and Russian airstrikes hit ISIS-held Al-Qaria town in the suburbs of Deer, Arizona, killing at least 82 people, including 58 civilians. July 2016. The 1st of July, the Army of Conquest captures the town of Kanzaba in the province of Latakia from government forces. 3 government officers are killed when the helicopter crashes in the south near ISIS-held territory. Government attack hits a crowded market in the Tariq al-Bab district in Aleppo city, killing 17 including 5 children. Meanwhile, a coalition airstrike targeting the ISIS in Majib kills 9 civilians, including 7 children. The 2nd of July, heavy Syrian air force bombardment of a rebel-held Jayrud town kill at least 31 people, including 2 medical staff. The town's medical center is hit and its director Amjad al-Danaf is killed. Ara al-Sham attacks nearby government positions in response to warplanes shelling Jayrud. 2 women and a child are killed in regime shelling of the eastern rebel-held Saif al-Dawla neighborhood of Aleppo. The 3rd of July, a suicide bomber militant of an organization close to ISIS kills 7 rebel commanders in the town of Inkil. The 4th of July, Russian overnight strikes kill 3 Palestinians and injured at least 5 others in the Karnashia refugee camp, with several civilian homes damaged, as was a social services center. The 7th of July, amid Russian and Syrian air support, Tiger forces capture Mala farms, imposing fire control over Castello Road. This road is the only supply route to rebel-controlled Aleppo. Heavy fighting inflicts major death toll amongst Islamist groups. This is part of northern Aleppo offensive started in late June. The 10th of July, the President of France, François Hollande, called for international military action against al-Nusra Front, arguing that we must also avoid a situation whereby as ISIS becomes weaker, other groups become stronger. The 12th of July, as 3 people are killed in an airstrike destroying a hospital. Journalists and activists accuse the Syrian government and its allies of deliberately and repeatedly bombing infrastructure such as bakeries and hospitals. According to the Syrian Network for Human Rights, 80 medical facilities in Syria have been attacked in 2016 and that at least 81 medical workers have been killed in 2016. 2016, the 16th of July, Russian-Syrian government air raids on rebel-held districts of Aleppo city killed at least 25 civilians, including children. A hospital in the Mahdi neighborhood is hit, wounding some of the staff and patients inside. Russian and government air raids on Syria have killed over 50 civilians in the last 3 days. The strikes targeted bakeries and hospitals. The 17th of July, the Syrian army and its allies captured the only road into the rebel-held eastern Aleppo, a major setback for opposition forces. The 19th of July, the British-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports US-led coalition airstrikes on the Islamic State-held city of Manbij in northern Syria kills at least 56 civilians, including 11 children, and injured dozens more. Reuters. The Turkish pilots who downed a Russian Su-24 are arrested in Turkey. According to a Turkish official, both were arrested over links to a coup and not because of the downing of the Russian plane. The 20th of July, fighters of Harakat Nour al-Din al-Zanki, a CIA-funded rebel group, record themselves beheading a 12-year-old Palestinian child named Abdullah Issa. The U.S. State Department declares that, if the video is genuine, they would stop sending the group military aid. The 28th of July, Syrian government forces complete their encirclement of Aleppo. Assad announces a 3-month amnesty for opposition fighters who surrender and lay down their arms. A rebel Islamic group, al-Nusra Front, split from al-Qaeda and changes its name to Jabhat Fatah al-Sham. The 30th of July, Russia announces the implementation of several humanitarian corridors for civilians to escape from rebel-held areas of Aleppo towards government territory ahead of a planned Syrian-Russian offensive. The Syrian government also offered amnesty to opposition fighters who will surrender. August 2016. The 1st of August, Russian helicopter downed, killing all 5 on board. It is the worst single incident for Russia since they entered the civil war. The 2nd of August, an apparent chlorine chemical attack by government forces hits Sarakeb in Idlib Governorate. About 30 people are injured. The site of the attack is near where the Russian helicopter was downed, though it is not apparent whether this is coincidental. The 3rd of August, jihadi group Jabhat as-Salawat and Miyu splits from the US-backed new Syrian army, though says it will continue to fight Islamic State in eastern Syria. The 6th of August, in a major result for the rebel opposition, a surprise attack with suicide bombers against a government military academy leads to the breaking of the siege of Aleppo. Crucial to the success is the Islamist rebels' united front. The 10th of August, an alleged chemical revenge attack by government forces takes place in the Zubdiya neighborhood of rebel-held Aleppo. 3 or 4 people are killed. The 14th of August, a suicide bombing killed over 50 rebel fighters at the Syrian ATME crossing with Turkey. The attack left over 50 rebels wounded as well as Turkish army soldiers injured. The 26th of August, rebel fighters from Daraya surrender the positions to SAA forces in honor of an agreement which granted them pass to Idlib Governorate. Over 700 fighters and the families are allowed to leave Daraya by Syrian government forces.